Hi, everybody. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I just have to do this manually because the Stream Deck legit decided to stop working, even though I went live with that and unmuted Messi and myself with that and all that stuff. Then all of a sudden I was just like, I'm good. I unplugged it and plugged it back in. And it's just like, I'm good. So Messi's idea of having a good time was to then continue to tease me about the camera because now my Stream Deck's not working. You got the thinnest
skin in the world. Come on.
That's true. It is very thin. It's actually like paper. Paper thin.
Yeah, mine's pretty thin too, honestly.
Yeah.
I keep burning it. If I go outside, it burns. It gets thinner. It's insane.
That's just Florida. So what's up?
Don't know.
I already showered today.
I didn't. I mean, I did this morning.
I'm hungry.
But not after work. You gonna go get food, Tyler?
Not right now.
Why not?
Because
I'm
already late.
You can go get food real quick.
I don't have any snacks. I'd have to cook something. Don't worry about it. Keep going.
You don't need to preheat your oven. You're not gonna do the pizza.
No, I don't have enough calories left for today.
Oh,
that phrase will never make sense to me.
He's on a diet, sir.
I know what that means.
I'm tracking stuff. I'm trying to cut fat because I was overweight.
I don't know. You might still be.
I am still overweight, but
I'm just busting your balls.
I'm now 206 pounds instead of 215 pounds.
Oh, we're the same weight-ish. I mean, I've weighed like 205 to 210 for, how old am I? 34, so like 16 years. I've weighed the same amount. So maybe 15 years, somewhere in there. But hi, everybody. How y'all doing today? Good. I'm glad to hear it. Even though I didn't hear. So, wait. Okay, for some reason, the Stream Deck will do that. It'll work that one button. That one button works, but it won't do the rest of the buttons. Will this button work? Actually, I don't know, because I don't think I have that on the screen. But, anyways, I don't know. That's weird. I don't know why these buttons aren't working, but that one does. So at least I can hear the music now. I did change the music that we're playing for the campaign to try something a little bit different. Already, I like the idea. It does sound good. I kicked it old school. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So, last session, a few different things happened. We had, unfortunately, Tyler had to sit there for pretty much the whole session with his thumb in his bum as he watched Messi and Rena get a little messy.
I don't like that euphemism.
I mean, you kind of couldn't escape a bank designed to keep people out, not in.
I think the implication there was a little bit more than what actually happened, though.
You guys got drunk?
Don't pog. Don't
that
pog
too.
champ that.
That happened too.
Don't pog champ that. I do that one time. One time.
Come on,
now I
Messi.
can't get away from it.
Come on, Messi.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Also, check this out.
Because here at Regicide, we do this. And we're all like, what the hell is this?
Come on, it was so fucking funny. Now it's just overplayed.
You know, if you're a devoted member of this community, if you did it at home with us.
Also, hi, Neil. I watched your introduction to Kingmaker last night.
Also, hi, Neil. We know you did it at home.
Episode 0.
Neil's in Kingmaker now?
Yeah, we had to lower the bar. Feeling, you know. You know. All right.
Recent edition. That's cool. That's cool.
So, anyways, hi. So, last session, you know, obviously you guys kind of like, you know, had a bit of a hard time, and then you realized that, what's his name? Kudan was actually somewhere nearabouts, and so you went to go hunt him down. But then Flash, apparently, a couple of years in the future or something, we have, what's his name? Ophios appears very injured, not doing well with, in the cave that you guys spent so much time in underneath Momley. A couple of days of recuperation, and then eventually has a conversation with Snake Boy down there. Comes to a couple of realizations about, you know, a few different things, realizes there's lots of supplies, but then also knows that perhaps he shouldn't be staying here for much longer. I think when we last left off with his character, he had, I think, 2 levels of exhaustion left, and he was going to sleep, I believe, to drop down to that last final level of exhaustion. Thank God. So Tyler, your character did end with him going to sleep a little bit more, correct?
We ended with me going back to the bank. I think I still have those 2 levels of exhaustion. I went through the.
Oh, that's right. You were going to sleep. You're going to hug through it. But all we said was that I believe all we said was that you hugged into the thing and it consumed you. Like you kind of like melted into it again. I think we literally just stopped there.
You never said where I was going. Yeah.
Well,
but
then you said that
I had asked beforehand to take me back to wherever I came from if this is how I got here.
Perfect. So you go back to the bank, and you are in fact inside the bank. You can see that you're inside the this semicircle room. You're in the back end of a semicircle room. So before you is like above you and behind you is like a circular dome shape. So it's like a wall stretching rounded out around you and doming up over your head until halfway across what would be a full dome is just a flat wall. To your left and to your right are 2 well-crafted, well-maintained, full steel or iron doors, whatever they are, that are shut. There are, of course, a bunch of benches and whatnot before you, and there's a few different, like, what are they called? Candelabras set up inside the room that have burning candles and incense and whatnot going inside there. The smell is a little strange. It's a little different. Kind of smells like what's the word I'm looking for? Oh shit, I'm so sorry, I can't remember the name. The smelly one that begins with a B, not sulfur. It's the like the brimstone, right? So it has this like almost like brimstone kind of smell to it. It's kind of aggressive, but in its smell, but it's a little bit lighter. It's not like they did a full blown. It's like a slight ambiance of this aggressive smell. Anyways, Tyler, that's the room that you appear in. What do you do?
I've never seen this room before.
Correct.
So I'm going to investigate the doors.
Sure. So you go to the door on the left or the right?
Probably the left.
Okay. You go over to the door on the left, and you're gonna, I imagine, walk up to it and listen.
Yeah, listen.
Sure. Roll me a perception check. I have amazing food in front of me and no fork.
I still have disadvantage, correct?
Actually, oh my gosh,
what level are you
oh my
at?
gosh, spicy. Like good spicy, but I didn't expect it.
What level of exhaustion are you at, Tyler?
I don't remember.
Oh my god, I did not expect that to be a spicy thing I put in my mouth.
You were at 4 and you got 2
good
good checks, right? So you'd be at 2nd level?
Yeah, 2. So it's disadvantage on ability checks, which is these skill checks.
Don't touch your eye, you dummy.
Oh, I ate with this hand. Not this hand.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man. Oh, wow. Apparently that's a spicy pepper. Cool. I just didn't expect it. Oh, boy. Woo!
So, disadvantage perception.
Somebody clip that. I'll send that to Brittany. I'll make her laugh. Starting with the pepper. Sorry, disadvantage. Yes, sir. If you want to, Tyler. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's fine. I was just saying, if you want to, you could have spent like a long period of time to break down the disadvantage, but that's fine. You kind of walk up to the thing, you know, you quietly walk up to it. You're a bit cautious. You're still tired, but it's not the end of the world. And you listen closely. You're listening. You think you might hear voices on the other side, but you're not entirely sure. You're pretty sure you hear voices on the other side. No, there are. There's voices over there. But the wall's so thick, because it's, you know, iron or steel or whatever it is, that you can't quite make out what it is that they're saying.
Can you tell how far away they are?
He'll go to the other door.
Sure.
And do the same thing now.
Okay.
And he'll probably, if that's what he got from that, I mean, since you said I can take my time, I would probably take my time on this one.
Okay. So you start, if you want to, you can roll, yep, without disadvantage.
Normal perception.
You notice 2 things. Oh, by the way, with the other door and with this one, you also notice that the door can lock, but it locks on this side, right?
My side?
Yeah, the door can lock, but it locks on this side, so it's just like a simple bar that goes down or whatever it is to like lock it in place. It's nothing nothing crazy though. Like it's very simple design, probably just to keep people from disrupting whatever rituals, whatever happened inside of here. Okay. When you come over to this side, you notice two things. One, you don't hear anybody out that door, and two, the door to the left, to the like down the wall from where you are, like 30 feet over, is starting to open.
I'm going to try and stealthily turn into snake form.
You want to turn into
hide.
Turn into a snake in a big stone room?
I mean, his reaction naturally is he wants to hide. And the only way I can think to hide is either go through this door or turn into snake form, because I can stealth in snake form.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, under those circumstances,
don't forget, when you turn into a snake, you drop your clothes. So
correct. Well, I guess I'll just open this door.
Okay. Roll me a stealth check.
And try.
Unfortunately, with disadvantage. Okay.
How would the clothes survive him turning into magma? He should be naked already.
That's magic. So anyways, so yeah, you grab the door as soon as you hear the other one opening. Luckily, the doors, even though they're well maintained, they are big and heavy, so there's a bit of a screech to it. You're able to, like, you hear that screeching as the door's opening, not quickly, but just like opening slowly on the other side. Because you have to imagine these things are kind of heavy, like a modern day like safe door, but not lubed up and well designed like an actual modern day machining can do, right? So it's as it's opening, you're able to use that opportunity to push this door open, which is heavy as fuck, to push this door open as quickly as you can to try to get out. And you don't think that they saw you, but whether or not you can actually close the door in time, I'm gonna need a strength check. That is also a disadvantage, unfortunately. Oh, it's funny, actually. Tyler brought this up while we were Tyler brought up that I'm wearing an Angry Orchard shirt, and I was like, I don't drink this shit. It's so gross. But it's a free shirt I got from when I used to manage restaurants. I think I own like 3 of them. So.
It's an 8.
So, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to push the door all the way shut on the other side. Do you want to continue trying to push it shut, and you just leave it be and hope nobody notices? Because you get it most of the way, but...
Because I kind of want to listen.
Okay. So, you push it open enough to get out, like kind of like get out, and you try pushing it shut. But honestly, you're afraid if you keep pushing, you're probably gonna push it so much that they either notice it being shut or hear it clang shut. So you just have to leave it kind of ajar open, maybe like a 2-inch gap in the door, open. So you're standing on the other side. You look down the hallway, and you can see the hall. This whole area down here is very warm, just like where you were. Before where you just came from. It's very warm. So you actually didn't notice the temperature right off the bat because it was the same temperature as it was where you came from to where you came to. One of the things you notice is that the hallway in front of you, it's not just like a straight hallway. It does move forward for a bit and then curves a bit to the left. And then you can just barely see down at the end of the hall where right as it finishes, I guess, coming to a curve, that there's a door over there as well. That door also happens to be shut. And it seems to be more of another iron door, my apologies. So you're standing there, there's nobody in this hallway, there's nobody about, but once again, more candelabras that are lit and more light that's kind of emanating in here as these candles are giving off this slight brimstone kind of smell to them. You're tucked behind the door. Do you just quietly sit there and try to listen to the conversation?
Try and listen, and if I can look through that crack, I would. Okay.
So this time, because obviously there's a risk of failure, you can't just like spend all the time in the world. You're gonna have to roll with disadvantage for your perception check. Oh, hold on. And you were being given luck dice. I have to throw that into your thing real quick. Hold on. Cool.
I mean, I got my roll. It's a 12.
Are you happy you get 12?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do it. Oh, 16.
You definitely hear them having a full-blown conversation. 2 voices. The voices, one sounds male, one sounds female. You can't quite understand what they're saying, though. You don't understand the language that they're speaking. I don't know whether or not you can actually identify that language, though. You're gonna have to go ahead and roll me an intelligence check, sir.
Disadvantage. Nope. Definitely don't.
You think what they might be speaking is maybe it's the Hafue language? Maybe it's the language of the little people? It's strange. It's kind of an archaic language. And you know the Hafue which live northeast of where you were born. It might be the language of those people.
So I can't see them through that crack.
Unfortunately, oh, sorry. Looking through, you can see two forms moving about. You can see that they're medium-sized creatures, but honestly, it's hard to make out the details of what they are. Oh, no, you caught a glimpse of one. At the very least, the guy looks like he's a hobgoblin. You're pretty sure.
That's based off my perception or my perception and intelligence combined?
Both.
Okay. This is odd. He'll sit and wait there and see if they leave the room from which they came.
Okay. Conversation goes on. A conversation goes on for like maybe another minute or so before finally you hear conversation kind of like stop a bit abruptly. Roll me an insight check. Again, disadvantage.
Another natty one.
Stops abruptly. Honestly, the language that they were speaking is a bit harsh. Maybe they were arguing. Or maybe it's just a harsh language. Kind of like when you hear somebody saying, I love you in Russian. It sounds like, I'm going to murder your babies. You're like, oh, okay, why you sound so angry, man? Do svidanya. Like, you know? So anyways, it ends abruptly. I'm going to need one last check from you. It's going to be a perception check with, again, disadvantage. You don't notice it until it's too late. Footsteps fall right in front of the door that you're kind of hiding behind. The door starts to swing open.
I was going to say if their conversation stopped abruptly, I was going to step behind the door anyway.
Yep, that's fine.
So that if the door opened up, I would hopefully be concealed by the door itself.
Yep, I know what you're doing. I do that all the time to my daughter. She outsmarts it now. My dog's still too dumb to figure it out, though. So anyways, I would normally say stealth at disadvantage, but actually it's disadvantage anyways, so it's just stealth at disadvantage. The door swings open, and it's one of those things where they push the door open enough that while they're standing there, one happens to take like a half step out, so you can't see them, they can't see you. But the other one, the female, also a hobgoblin, is standing inside the doorway to the point where they just notice shape move through the crease in the door and look over. There's that moment where you both notice that you notice each other, and says something again in the language that you don't know. They start reacting. She says something to him, and he immediately starts to step around the corner to the wall of where you are. He's starting to say something, but his tone, it's changed. It's authoritative and different. There's a different resonance to it as he's speaking. Do me a favor. Roll me initiative real quick.
All right.
You don't have to click your token.
Oh,
or do so. Unfortunately,
that is a terrible roll.
Unfortunately, you don't get to react very quickly. As he steps around the corner, he's actually going to be casting a spell. And what happens is, even though the door is there before you, kind of like what you were trying to hide behind, you start looking to take like a half step to the side, making sure that you have a clear line to where it is that you want to go, and canting your own spell. But then the wall behind you seems to reach out and grab you. As literally the stone of the wall behind you reaches like a hand to grasp at you. I need a dexterity save, but you do not have dexterity. Hold. Technically speaking, you rolled incorrectly. An initiative check is an ability check, and you have to roll that with disadvantage, which you did not. You actually get to re-roll at disadvantage.
I mean, does it work with disadvantage?
You just roll a second time.
I mean, you're just wondering to see if it gets worse.
So,
you wanted to see if I natty one.
But you get to Right, make me a dexterity save, but this is normal because you're only level 2 exhaustion. The hand easily grasps you and holds on to you tight. Because of the way that it's grasping you, you try and do the spell. It is only a verbal component, technically speaking. Even though the hand grasps you and holds on to you and gives you this tight grip, you can actually still Misty Step out of it. It's only a verbal component. I imagine you do so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was heading back into the room behind the statue from which I came.
That you can see. You won't be able to see back there.
Couldn't I see through the crack or no?
The crack will be able to see like a slight angle, but I mean, that's at best a little bit. So more or less right next to where she's standing.
Okay. Then down the hallway for sure.
Sure. So immediately as soon as this thing's grabbing you and squeezing you, you finish your little, and you jump forward about 30 feet. You're actually standing before the door that I had mentioned around the end of the curve. You're quickly looking around. You see the door is immediately in front of you. Turning and looking behind you, you see that the actual hallway curves back the other way, going down the other side. Apparently, there's a bit of a loop. There's a half circle at one end, and the two doors meet up at the two bending halls, meet up at the other tip. Also looking behind you, between where those two hallways were, there's another door. That doorway is actually wide open, and through it, you see a massive, and I mean ginormous, blazing fire elemental. This thing is barely able to be contained within the brazier that it's held inside. If you had to guess, it's like 14, 15 feet in height, standing inside there. So a hallway angling down to now where which way you're turned looking behind you, angling to the left with the two hobgoblins down there. A hallway angling down to the right, to the door that they must have come through to get into the statue room. Directly in front of you, there is a the doorway that has the fire elemental inside of it. And turning back around, there's the door that you had seen, the one that's again another iron door. This one seemingly no locks on it, leading to somewhere else. It's shut. What do you do? They're reacting, obviously.
I want to open the door. Can they see me?
I mean, it just take only a couple moments. To like, there he is, sort of a thing. Because you're not invisible.
Okay. Right. I'm going to actually run into the room with the fire elemental.
Sure. So you go rushing into the, so instead of like the shut door in front of you, you turn back and you run like the 10 feet to get to the doorway behind you. Not even 10 feet, like 8, 9 feet to get to the door behind you.
If it curves, it's running out of their sight is what I was trying to do.
I mean, yeah, that curved up and then again, it continues to curve back to behind them. Or you can just, again, straight, I mean, here, let me draw you a picture. If you're not getting it in your head, let me draw you a picture so you understand.
I can't.
No,
definitely can't.
Not everybody can do brain stuff like that because it's a different type of spatial awareness. Listen to somebody else's descriptions. Hold on one second. X, that's a door. That's a door. I'm gonna do it like this. There's a door here. I'm gonna do our door here. And then changing the color for the walls. You got black. I'll change this to chat and see it in a second.
So I was in a room with two doors.
Correct. That's how I originally described it.
And this one goes back to the door that they had walked through because I was in here and I went out this door over here. And so I have the option of this room or up here. Right?
Yep. I'm just trying to get this right. And then this will lead into the room that has the what's it called?
So this is the fire elemental room?
Yep. I'll just do some red for the fire elemental. Like red for fire. And then I'll actually do to mark where what's his name is. We'll do like deep red for where Snaga statue was. Okay?
I mean, if it curves like that.
Bad guys were over here.
It's an even curve. So if I'm at that door, they technically wouldn't have line of sight of me at that moment.
There you go. So you were able to see that doorway yourself from where you were standing before, so they can actually, that person that's up there, like they can kind of see. That's just me hard drawing something garbage. It's obviously smooth, even, and so on and so forth. So you can, if you just run back into the room with the fire elemental, yeah, they won't be able to see you unless they come up there themselves.
But the fire elemental will see me.
Yeah.
Not that it would necessarily do anything, but it's huge, right? It's not a small one.
Correct.
It's big.
It's massive.
You know what? He's based on what just happened. He's going to run towards the fire elemental, thinking that has something to do with his god for whatever reason.
Sure, not a problem. So you come running into like where the fire elemental happens to be, and let me just put you on top. Tyler should always be on top. Yeah, baby. So you go running into where the fire elemental is, and as you go walking in there, you can see that this room is so warm and it's so well maintained. These gorgeous carved pillars with all these wonderful symbols and sigils and everything on them. This massive fire elemental that's looking down at you. You know, as you come walking in, you can feel its presence. It doesn't have eyes or a face or anything like that, but you can feel its presence towards you. You can feel the heat licking off of this thing towards you. You look up at the thing, and it's seemingly paying attention to where you are, right? Because again, it's not bipedal humanoid form, bringing its attention towards you. As you go rushing into that room, that's kind of is going to end where we are with you for a moment. You can hear with the pitter patter of footsteps running down the hallway behind you, trying to catch up. When you ran into that room, sorry, I didn't ask this. Did you shut the door behind you? Or did you leave it open?
I was going to leave it open, but I was going to, at this point, run somewhere where I could transform into snake form and kind of hide in this room.
Okay, the best thing you can do is actually the big brazier that I was talking about that the fire elemental happens to be maintained inside. You can actually it's going to be hot over there, but you can kind of sneak around back behind it and just like drop. So all your clothes drop behind the brazier and you can be the snake form because you'll be able to hide because the only things inside this place are the huge pillars and the giant brazier.
Yeah, then that's what he would do.
Okay. So to sneak around back behind there, like I said, it is hot. I do need a constitution save because I think Ophios earned, and again, that's not disadvantage. I think Ophios had earned beforehand.
Resistance to cold, not heat.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Which is weird, but I think it had to do with the warmth inside.
Correct. Unfortunately, it is hot as balls when you get over there. I mean, it's really hot to the point where your snake form is starting to feel a little tired by the heat that's thrown off of it. You know, if you stay here for much longer, you're going to suffer another level of exhaustion. I'm not immediately going to throw another one at you because you're already at level 2, which is kind of where it's meant to bring you to. But, you know, if you stay here for much longer, you're going to be hit with another one. So anyways, you tuck around behind where this is. And you're able to, as you hear the pitter-patter of those footsteps coming running up and you feel sweat. Well, I mean, you are human-ish at the moment. You feel sweat forming on your skin and dropping down it. As you turn into a snake, obviously that goes away. In snake form, you have disadvantage on your hide checks, but your item gives you advantage on your hide checks, so you can actually stealth as normal.
And it should still give them disadvantage, correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I would probably, once I was in snake form, slither to a more comfortable spot, but obviously stealth good. But here you go. Here's my normal roll. God damn it.
Okay.
It's a 14.
Okay. So the 14, you can see that they whip around, and then this hobgoblin, because again you only see one of them, comes running around the top and slowly makes their way into the chamber. They stand before the fire elemental, and I'm not going to be able to give you the opportunity to perceive because you can't. You can just see, you can hear, obviously, because you're hiding, right? You're trying to stay as hidden as possible. But you hear, all of a sudden, it changes the language that it was speaking before. You hear it speaking a different language. You're not, again, sure what it is that it's speaking, but it does definitely change. And it starts giving off these strange noises, like strange noises. And you can feel the heat and fluctuations and everything on the fire elemental overhead and around you. The conversation goes on for several moments before finally you can actually feel the heat bringing and bearing itself towards you. Roll me an insight check with disadvantage.
Yep.
You have no idea what's going on. Maybe the elemental is telling the creature where you are.
Okay. I mean, I'm just gonna try and scoot away from the elemental and see if I continue feeling the heat.
Sure, you want to try to maybe make a stealth check to move and hide behind the pillars?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Uh, 12.
Okay.
Yes, natty one.
You go hiding out behind the pillar, and you realize that even though the creature is there, it wasn't talking anymore. Instead of talking, what he ended up doing is giving a bit of a deep bow towards the fire elemental. But you come slithering out from behind the pillar, thinking that maybe the elemental gave you up. It did not give up your position. Instead, you almost exposed yourself. Luckily for you, you were able to fairly well mimic the color of the stone around you because of the magical item that happens to be embedded inside of you, the scale embedded inside of you, altering the colors of the scales around you. The creature does its deep bow and then stands up and then turns and says something in that other language down to one of the hallways, and then turns and goes back the other way.
At that, I'm going to turn back into my normal form and retrieve my clothes.
Sure, you want to come back over here and normal form retrieve your clothes?
Just quickly retrieve my clothes.
Sure. And get dressed or stand there naked?
Get my clothes, then I'd walk away and get dressed and look at the fire elemental.
Okay.
And probably just admire it for a moment and see if it acts or reacts or does anything towards me.
It just seems to be acknowledging that you're there. It's hard because you can't speak its language. You can't understand it doesn't use words, right? It uses some sounds, but you don't understand what they are. And it uses a different form of communication than what your mind is normally able to wrap around. And you unfortunately don't understand any aspect of that.
Yeah, there's no way I could make an intelligence roll at all or anything.
Correct.
He would just kind of admire it and kind of stand by a pillar away from the door and wait.
Okay. Roll me a perception check, again, disadvantage. Up to you, man. You gonna modify it now? Cool.
No.
So you're standing by the pillar and just waiting. And then after a bit of time, the two forms do come back up here. And then you can actually see that while he goes over to the door and says something to her, he opens it and starts going out, or at least you notice that. Whereas she actually comes walking into the room itself, trying to look about and maybe speak to the elemental, maybe to look around one last time to see if you're in here. And she, of course, is going to do that. With your failed perception check, you unfortunately don't get to have much of a quick moment to transform back or anything like that. You have no heads up. It's literally you see her coming through the door as she's coming through the door. So you're rolling a flat stealth check against her flat perception. Oh, no. You have disadvantage because you're tired. Sorry. Almost fucked that up for myself.
Oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? 3? Yeah.
She clearly notices you and starts calling and calls out to whoever that other one is, saying something in a language that you don't understand. And immediately as she does that, she actually starts to weave her hands in a different way, saying different words, again, in a kind of a commanding format. And as she does so, you can literally see she's like almost pulling fire from the air around. You can see it's just like pulling in fire out of seemingly nowhere, like igniting the air around her hands. And then pulling that fire in closer to make like a blazing ball that she's holding between her hands. She starts to open it outwards, so it's making you know those toys that you probably see at like science museums or whatever, where it's like a tiny little ball of like a whole bunch of, but then you can pull it wide and it makes a cool like network of different interconnected lines and it gets smaller and bigger. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I had one of those as a kid, Scott.
Yeah, those are super cool, right? So you can see as she pulls her hands wide, it makes this like big web of it, and she literally pulls it wide and like throws it towards you. But throwing it towards you is not meant to be like a fast throw. It actually comes tumbling, like it bounces on the ground almost like a tumbleweed towards you as it goes. You're actually allowed a dexterity save. It's normal because you still only have 2 levels of it. Are you happy with your 12?
Fuck.
So with your 13 dexterity save, I'm just trying to remember for a second. In 5e, I want to make sure I got my DC correctly. 5e, it's based off of proficiency bonus. So it's 8 plus proficiency bonus would be at least 2 plus modifier. Okay, cool. So, yeah, she throws this thing towards you. What happens is as this ball comes towards you, it grows a little bit larger in size. And right as it's about to hit you and burn you with its fire, instead of burning you, actually 2 of the strands of fire disappear. And the thing like engulfs you, almost like Aladdin ducking inside that little window when he's out in the snow area, right? But then it stops around you, locking you into a cage of fire, like a ball of fire with flaming walls around. And she kind of like stands there holding her hand out, seeming to control this ball that's got you trapped, like a hamster wheel or ball.
And it got me.
It's got you encased inside of it. She starts saying something to you. You can roll an insight check with disadvantage as she's saying something to you again in the language that you don't understand. Are you happy with your 13?
Yes.
Okay. So with your 13, you get the impression that she's not being friendly. She's not being nice. But at the same time, you don't think she's actively trying to hurt you. I think she's probably trying to capture you. She's saying something to you, but you clearly can't make out what it is. You could, of course, feel free to act however you'd like.
Ophios would probably simply say, I'm not here to hurt anything. I don't even know how I got here.
A couple moments later, you would actually hear, so you'd hear and see the other hobgoblin comes walking in. And again, he comes walking in. He starts aggressively going towards you. She puts up a hand to stop him. The 2 of them start having a conversation with one another. While they're conversing, again, you can choose to act or not act. It's up to you.
He's going to wait for the time being, but he's going to be prepared to Misty Step out of this thing.
Okay. After the conversation goes on for 15, maybe 20 seconds, finally he kind of like says something with a bit of like a almost like a nod of affirmation and a bit of a grunt to it. And then he looks to her and he reaches upwards, almost as if he's kind of like grabbing from the sky, grabbing the air or something. And he, as he's doing this, you can actually see it almost like a tiny little tornado or a tiny little spin of air. She opens her mouth as he takes whatever this little bit of air is, and he pushes it in towards her, and she takes like a deep breath. You can see she's almost like shocked, starts choking a little bit with that, how heavy the rush of air is that hits her. She turns towards you, and she starts speaking to you. Again, you have no idea what language she's speaking. But suddenly, you can seem to understand what she's saying. She says to you, "What are you?" As you're starting to respond, contemplating how to do so, you can see he continues the spell, reaching from the air behind, grabbing 2 more little whirlwinds, and boxes her ears. And it's one of those things where she's like shocked by exactly like how intense it is and it hurts. But despite the pain, she like holds on to the spell that's wrapped around you. She takes a moment to recover and then looks at you.
He's simply just gonna say, I'm an anomaly.
She steps forward, like 1 step, and she like tightens the ball around you. We're talking like an inch, so it's still a good distance. Like you can almost stretch out your arms full length to either side. Like maybe if you like palms up outstretched, you wouldn't touch the fire, but fingers out, you definitely would. She says, "Why are you here, Anomaly?"
I do not know. I came through the statue.
She contemplates for a second. She says, "Snaga."
Yes.
She looks at you in your form, and then looks at him who heard her say the word. Then looks back at you and says, "You are of Snaga."
Yes.
She looks at him as she starts speaking again in a language that you shouldn't be able to understand. As she's not bringing her attention towards you, it starts to garble up the language a little bit. It's hard to make out what she's saying because it seems to be coming in and out of your understanding. Intelligence check with disadvantage to see if you can make out what she's trying to say.
Jesus. No.
Unfortunately, you keep rolling garbage. I'm so sorry. I just noticed this right now. You were given apparently 2 Winifred's Wisdoms. One from Aklo 4 minutes ago and one from Silencio 3 minutes ago.
Well, since I can only keep 1, can I just use it on that intelligence?
You can re-roll. That would not be advantage. They neutralize to a regular.
Normal.
Correct. Are you happy with your 17, or do you want to try to boop that?
I'm happy with my 17. I've used a lot of luck so far.
Okay, you need it. You can make out some of what they're saying, but most importantly, as she's trying to explain to him what you said, that you're an anomaly. She obviously didn't interpret that as your name. That you're an anomaly. She actually refers to you as a creation of the created. They have a conversation back and forth for a bit, where he seems to not believe. He seems to think you're being deceptive, but she's willing to at least listen. She turns back to you and says, "Haha, Neil, you still don't have a crown, you little bitch." And then she looks to you and says, "Were you sent here?" Or asks, I should say, "Were you sent here?"
I was brought here.
Brought here by Snaga.
Correct.
Where from?
As far as Ophios knows,
Of course.
He is. He'll say,
Where from?
He's gonna say, another monument to Snaga. Because he doesn't want to say where he's from, but he also doesn't want to lie.
Another monument?
Yes.
Thinks for a moment and says, "From the king's home." Sorry. My apologies. She says, "From the seat of the throne, from the emperor's home itself."
He's gonna look. Ophios just looks confused, which I imagine doesn't come across. He just kind of questions. He's like, "I know not from which you refer."
There are only 2 statues to Snaga.
Then I assume so. He's confused.
How long have you been alive?
My physical age or the age that which I have grown since the temple? Which one makes sense to me? I don't even know my age. It's not something I keep track of. He'll just simply
Few years.
say, yeah, a number of years, not long.
Is this your first time leaving?
This is my first time coming through the statue, the monuments.
But you have left before.
I've been on the road, yes.
You have traveled, she says, seeming to be a little disturbed by that. Are there others like you?
He would sit back and he'd be like, "Why so curious?"
Answer the question, she says, and folds in the fire to the point where, if you know, it almost, you definitely can't outstretch your arms anymore.
There's only one me, but yes, I know of a few. Different forms.
Did the Emperor make you? Or did you come from others of your kind?
Others of my kind.
She turns back to him. They continue to have the conversation. You've already got an advantage from so you already succeeded last time. So you have advantage to counter your dis, meaning normal roll right now to roll another intelligence check.
If I choose to use the Winifred's Wisdom or no?
If you choose to use Winifred's Wisdom, you would have advantage.
All right, then normal intelligence, correct? Or right?
Unless you use Winifred's Wisdom.
Correct. Okay.
They start having a conversation. She turns to him saying, explaining what it is that you were just saying. Explaining that you see, according to her, were created by the Emperor and have spent, were created by the Emperor some time ago. That you actually have other kin that are older than you. You're not the first generation. And that you have ventured forth from the Emperor's abode many times before. He seems to be very riled up by this. Doesn't seem to be going well. They start having conversations about whether or not this is a new type of slave or perhaps a new type of control. You're not fully understanding of what it is they mean, and there's still many lost words and whatnot that they're going over. But you can tell that there seems to be that they seem to be rather upset about like whatever situation seems to be coming forth from you. She turns to you and says, asks, will he know if you're gone?
Well, who know?
The Emperor.
Is the Emperor Snaga or Snaga somebody else to you?
I mean, you asked that question. Roll an insight check. A disadvantage. You think that she's possibly the facial expression, everything she's given you, maybe she's toying with you? You're not entirely sure. Because she's kind of keeping like, you think it's a bit of a playful face. Unfortunately, facial recognition is a little bit hard for you. You're still picking it up after only a couple of years, a little over a year outside of the nest. What was it saying? Sorry. So, you say, which one's to you? She says, answer the question. And she pulls the fire in close enough that honestly, elbow is out, you'd be burning. You know what I mean?
He's simply going to respond, I don't know any Emperor.
She looks to him. She says a simple phrase. Again, you don't even have to roll an intelligence check. She just says, I don't think he'll be missed. And looks to you and says, we're going to need something from you. And she starts, she looks back at him and starts speaking. This time, you can roll an intelligence check to understand. It's normal unless you choose the Winifred's Wisdom. Happy with the 17th?
Yep.
She tells him to go in to retrieve something from you. You're not entirely sure what it is that she told him to retrieve. He starts walking forward.
Well, this is why I prepared to Misty Step, because I'm going to do it behind them and take off.
Mm-hmm. You Misty Step behind them, which is awesome because you teleport directly behind them. But as soon as you teleport and you go to take a step forward to take off, you realize the fire teleported with you.
Shit.
They both wheel around, and he chuckles a little bit as he comes up from behind, and she says to you, in the language that you can seemingly understand, even though you don't know what it is or how, she says to you, you're not getting away that easily. And he continues to come up from behind. I don't know if there's anything else you tried to do, but as he does so, he does draw a blade. The blade's a little bit strange in its design. You can see that it has a very, very sharp edge, but it also seems to have these strange little grooves and whatnot built inside of it. Roll me a perception check. Disadvantage, of course. It does have grooves, as I previously stated, but those grooves seem to have go into, like, almost like feed into like tunnels built into the actual blade itself. If you had to guess, based off the design and your heightened intelligence at the moment, that you think that this probably feeds into a vial or some sort of storage area inside the base of the blade. More than likely, he's about to draw some blood.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
He clearly doesn't understand you. But she says, as he stops before you holding the blade in hand, "Why?"
How much do you know of Snaga?
Much.
Are you believers of Snaga? Worshippers?
It's kind of a strange, she gives you kind of a strange look. And she looks at him, and she says something to him. And he responds back to her, and is getting a conversation. Roll intelligence check to see if you understand.
Normal again?
Mm-hmm. Okay. They seem to have a conversation about, he's wondering if we worship Snaga. Why would we worship Snaga? He believes that Snaga is perhaps a god or a deity. And he just looks at her like, he gives her kind of a quizzical look and then shrugs and looks back at you. And again, he's still looking to draw blood. She looks at you and says, "We do not worship Snaga."
I'm going to summon my blade, I guess.
Mm-hmm. You go to summon your blade. You hold out your hand to summon your blade. It takes a moment. It's literally one of those things like, huh? What the hell? And you feel it coming to you. You can feel the magic swelling up. You can feel it coming to you, but it doesn't immediately appear in your hand. It just seems like there's almost like a drag. Like if you wanted to run from one end of a room to the other one, or if you wanted to run from one end of a room filled with water to the other, you can feel like there's a bit of a drag to it. It's coming. Just needs a moment. He says like a quick grunt to her, and then she says to you, "Make it easy. Hold out your arm."
No.
She pulls the fire in so it's to the point where it's literally singeing at the top of your head, and it's like encasing you so you can barely even move. She says, "You work with us, or we take what we want with a little char."
And he'll just simply say, "I came here meaning no harm. I returned from a place from which I came. I was sent from here
While you're
to
talking,
another place, and I
he
returned."
gets impatient and goes to step forward, and instead of taking your arm, just stabs at you in the gut with the dagger. However, it's not simply doesn't just get to stab. I technically have to attack as well because, you know, you can still move. It's just, you know, fire. So before I do anything, do you want to try to move out of the way of the attack?
Yes.
You have to make a dexterity save because you're encased inside fire. Okay, that's actually really good. You get your full AC against the attack. Also,
my AC minus a shield minus my armor is only a 14.
Okay, but also since you see it coming, whether you choose to act or react first, you can actually roll initiative. Once again, don't click your mini, just click, you know, the button.
Disadvantage, right?
No.
So I have to roll.
Oh yeah. Twice. Yep.
So 14.
Also. Wow. Cool. So it is a 19 for initiative. You actually technically get to act first for whatever you can do.
Is penance the is that temporary HP?
What's it called? 8 of the martyr gave you the temporary HP, and you got the 13.
What's penance do?
Attack rolls, damage rolls, saves, skill checks.
Okay.
You. Encased inside fire.
I have already used both of my spell slots. There's not much I can do, Scott.
It's up to you, boyo.
I'm gonna transform into a snake, I guess.
Okay, you can do that. As you thrust forward the dagger, you transform into a snake. The spell was smart. It was smart enough to travel with you. It actually wasn't smart enough to for your transformation that you just did. As you turn into a snake, which I think is your action, you actually get into a shape where you can slither through the little areas before the spell is able to react and kind of recompress itself or re-angle itself to keep you encased again. Like change like the network to be tighter. So you can actually try to, with your dexterity save, I'll allow that to jump over since that was meant to be for the other thing. You actually are able to slither out of the thing. You're technically outside of the spell as of right now.
I'm gonna, if I get to act first, I'm gonna move as far away as I can.
Okay. So you do, and you're gonna move just like 30 feet away as quickly as you can. Technically, as a dagger in hands, technically your movement provokes an attack of opportunity. So he is going to do that because you're not withdrawing or whatever, because you're not a rogue. You don't have that ability. So he does get the opportunity to attack against you.
Is it a 14 or a 15? I'm trying to remember how much my AC would be. What is base AC?
10 plus dex.
Plus dex, so that's 12 plus 2, 14. Yeah.
So I get to roll this, and then I have a -1 to my attack roll, so it actually brings me to here. Okay, cool.
God damn it.
So instead, what he ends up doing is, as you try to slither away, he thrusts forward and stabs you with a dagger as hard as he can. Like, stabs you. The amount of damage doesn't matter. What is important that he does, of course, penetrate, and is able to get some of the blood from you as he does so. He does this and kind of like lets out a bit of a grunt as he does so, and she calls out, what is it? She starts to like close up the ball behind you, so it gets like super tight, so she can kind of get it ready and hurl it forward against you. But as he like stands up, from having stabbed you, he flicks the thing and says, again, something to her in the language, and turns back to her, and she goes to throw the ball, but instead looks back at him, and the two of them stop to have a conversation. Do you continue to run down the hall towards where Snaga's statue is?
No, I'm gonna turn around and go and try and take that weapon from him.
Okay, sure. So how are you going to try to take that weapon back, sir?
I'm gonna transform. I'm not gonna transform him back. I'm just gonna go ahead and try and bite him.
Okay, make an attack roll.
It's normal, right? Fuck me.
Cool. So you try to do that, and after you try to take the bite or whatever against him, he just kind of takes a half step back, like from your attack and your thrust at him, and he says something again in that language. You can't understand him unless the two of them are speaking together, because it's almost like whatever it is that they did kind of entwines. So he just says something to you again in the language you don't understand. Takes like a half step back and thrusts both of his hands forward, and you can feel just a huge, massive, almost like a wall of air appears between him and you, and then just starts moving faster and faster away as like this like wall is pushing at you. You have to make a strength saving throw. The wall of air starts pushing you down that curved tunnel to the point where it like smacks you against one of the walls and pushes you down and wraps you around until it pushes you through the doorway where that you originally came out, the metal door that's there. It's like he could shut the door as well, because, you know, the door is kind of like the way it was swung open with you like hiding behind it. It had a bit of an angle to it, so it'd be aerodynamic. So it's like the door shuts too. But he does push you all the way back into the room where Snaga was. He yells something, but again, in a language you don't understand.
Okay. I guess I'm transforming out of snake form. and running back down that hallway.
So you're gonna try to like run back at him.
Yeah.
Okay.
See if my blade comes to me.
Actually, it will. As you're like running and you finally continue concentrating on, it will come to you. You can see he's roll me a insight check as you start running towards him.
Disadvantage, insight.
You're running towards him. As you're running towards him, he was again turned to talk to her. He can hear you, see you coming. So he turns back towards you. He says something in a language you don't understand. His face is different. His expression is different. You can see before maybe he was being playful or going easy. His expression has very much changed too. If you want this, you'll have it.
I mean, he's got a blade, and I'm going to use my bonus action to cast Hexblade's Curse on him.
Okay. So let's actually fall into legitimate initiative again for a second. So you rolled really high on initiative, right? Yep. You got a 14. Plus, yeah, so a 14. You rolled really well. You go rushing down the hallway, calling to your sword. Calling to your sword is an action, so that's how you get it. But then you use your bonus action to put Hexblade's Curse on him. This is kind of your turn, calling your blade, grabbing your sword, because it finally came through from wherever it was so far away from, and then moving up towards him. You step towards him. He actually, because where he was a couple steps away from her beforehand, he actually tosses the dagger over towards her, and she holds it. She still has the fire there. She hasn't thrown it towards you, so she does nothing with it yet. He's actually going to take a step back, and he's going to like kind of like take a different stance, and he's going to like reach down, almost like he's trying to granny style bowl, like a bowling ball, and then he thrusts his whole body upwards. So he's like, his goes for like almost like he's going to granny bowl a ball, and then reaches up towards the sky at a heavy thrust. Unfortunately, that also makes the entire ground beneath you raise as well, as you're literally caught inside a huge wall of stone from your feet going up towards the ceiling to smush you like a bug. You're going to need to make a dexterity save, sir. Okay. With a 15 on your saving throw, it's actually a 16 because of the other thing, because of the Penance of the Arbiter. You're actually able to jump out of the way to the point where the thing does not completely crush you. It's only going to do half damage because of it just smashing into the ceiling. So I'm going to roll that real quick. So it's going to be half of this is what you take.
I really hope it's not high. Oh my god.
So you take 13 points of damage as the ground smashes
There
up
goes
towards
all
the
my
ceiling.
temp.
Yep. And I didn't roll the damage I did before with the dagger, so technically that was 3. So 6. So what did I say? 13 plus 3, 16 total is what you would have taken. So that was your 10 plus 3 damage.
Yep.
Cool. So anyways, yeah, you the ground comes up to the ceiling and smashes. When it smashes, by the way, it didn't come back down. It stays up like a big wall. The question is, which side of that wall did you jump onto? Now, we know which side you want it to be on, the same side that he was on. Duh. So we actually have to take it.
I mean, my momentum would have been that way because I was running towards him. So
correct, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your scramble for your life would have brought you that way. So what we're going to say is you're actually going to roll me a D100. There's a 75% chance you went the way you wanted to. Which way do you, what do you want to be, high or low?
High.
Okay. Don't roll 25 or lower. Roll it, Tyler.
84.
So you wanted to be high, so you did a good job. It's still your turn, sir.
So it's now a brand new turn, right?
Yeah, he just did that one spell. She didn't do anything, so actually on her turn, my apologies, thank you. Seeing you got through to the other side, she takes the ball again and hurls it towards you. That's a dexterity save. That's a beautiful dexterity save. It's a 17 total. So actually the ball gets hurled towards you, and unfortunately you're actually able to jump out of the way of it again. Jump out of the way of it this time. It does not encase you. With it having missed you, technically it dissipates, but that's fine.
Are they 5 feet from each other?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. We are going to go ahead and use my new fantastic ability called Green Flame Blade. when I attack.
Remember, if you green flame blade, you get 1 attack, not 2.
Can I attack and then green flame blade?
No,
Or no?
green flame blade is a standard action, and attacking twice is a standard action. So you make one option or the other. Oh wait, hold on. But you're a fighter now.
Yeah.
So you can technically green flame
Use
blade
my
attack, then
action
action surge to attack twice. Yeah, you could if you wanted to.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and cast this. What is it? 3rd level.
How is the hype train not triggered by you guys just now? Like I don't even know. Like
It has to be 3 different people.
I thought it was
don't
3
know.
different people.
And it has to be within a certain time frame.
Yeah,
I don't
2.
know. They might have triggered one earlier. I'm not sure.
No, one wasn't triggered already. That's weird. Maybe it's missing one person. Maybe that's why. Weird.
So this is my normal attack, which by the way, I don't have my shield, so this is a 2-handed attack.
I'm sorry. What was that?
This is a 2-handed attack.
That's fine.
So, you know what? I'm going to use my Winterford's Wisdom here and get advantage on this. Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Because of my ability, does that count as the dice rolling an 18? Not that it matters, but
No, you rolled a 17, but you got the total of a 27.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. I'll roll my damage then.
Mhm.
This is the first person takes this. Oops, I forgot Hexblade's Curse. Add 3 to that. 3 necrotic, 2 fire, 7 slashing.
Okay.
And the next person gets this, which I gotta hit. Hold on. This is the second target. They take 6 fire damage.
Okay. Mm.
I don't
The
know if
first
that's
person was him. The second person was her. She didn't seem to
Yeah.
be too much disrupted, disturbed, or otherwise bothered by the fire damage. She does, however. They both, however, do seem to be annoyed. She says to you as she places a hand on his shoulder, because he's now seeming very upset. She says to you, "This is your last chance."
And this, if I can respond, he's going to say, "And this is yours. Give me that dagger."
She starts to form another, as it's their turns. She starts to form another ball in her hands. This time, it's not a ball of...
It's not their turn yet.
He turns over. Oh, your action surge. Go
I
ahead.
can action
Go ahead.
surge.
Sorry. She goes to take an action.
So I use that. So my action surge is gone. And I'm going to just 2-handed slash this mother fluffer.
Go ahead.
Twice. Because I get 2 attacks now from the action surge.
Mhm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Once
Normal.
more with feeling.
14.
16, actually.
16. Does that hit?
It does. Make sure you click the things for the correct damage.
Once more
I forgot
with
Hexblade's
feeling.
Curse, so it's going to have to add
No,
3.
no, if you click it now, it'll go on there.
Oh,
Yeah.
So 10. And then I'll attack again.
Once more with feeling.
That hits, of course.
And he'll take 14.
So 14, 24, but you also did to him earlier, 24, 34, 36 points of damage. So actually, I won't lie. You hurt him. Did you hit him earlier too or no?
So I hit him earlier for 3 necrotic.
No, I saw
2
that.
fire.
Yeah, that's why it's 30, 34,
Okay.
36 points of damage. So actually, I won't lie. You actually do drop him. But he's not the one that's holding the dagger. As I said earlier, he tossed it to her.
Correct. But I'm between now because he was in the doorway, so I'm now between her and her exit. And also if I drop him, I healed.
So that's fine. You healed. She now forms a ball in her hands again, but this time it's not fire. This time it's water. She forms inside of her hands. She forms a ball, and again, same as before, she throws it at you, but as she throws it at you, it gets larger. You can go ahead and roll me a dexterity save.
Hold on. I want to close these. Fuck me.
Unfortunately, you're completely encapsulated in the ball and immediately cannot. You're moving. By the way, oh shit! I fucking let you walk too much. You're lucky I forgot that you move at half speed, Mr. Exhausted level 2.
Oh.
So you're already moving at half speed, so you're actually moving at half speed again. So now you're actually like swimming through this ball that you can't breathe inside. And you're swimming through a ball. So effectively you're suspended doing nothing right now. You're gonna have to start, you're holding your breath is what you have to do while you're inside of this thing. You see that as you're doing that, she looks down at him, looks agitated at the fact that he was dropped, and looks up at you, and she just shakes her head. It's your turn before she can do anything else. She, you watch. I'd give you disadvantage on perception checks. We already have it. Roll disadvantage on your perception check.
Not bad.
You can see that she's tucked the dagger into her own belt loop. What do you do for your turn?
I try and get out of this freaking ball somehow. I don't know how. I guess slashing at it.
What? Somebody did a thing in chat, and I honestly can't understand one of the words. It's the second word that the person that pressed the button and did the thing said to me. That word is not, either that's a typo, and I have no idea what the fuck that typo is, or that's a word I don't know, because I have no idea what that word is. Okay, that was weird. I'm sorry. Say that again, Tyler. What do you want to do?
Try and get out of this ball. I imagine I try and slash and swim.
You have to try to swim, so that's going to be an athletics with disadvantage. You're stuck there. You see that she uses, once again, she seems to have some power of fire, right? She reaches over towards the fire elemental that's over there. And she seems to be grabbing from the fire elemental, drawing from it. And she's literally pulling this huge strand, this huge beam, this huge arc of fire, drawing it and pulling it over towards her into her hands and like directing the arc over into the body of the person that's on the ground. You see as it's hitting him on the ground, he's like, "Arr!" As the fire is like being burned into his chest. And the fire is burns bright. The elemental on the other side gets noticeably smaller. Actually, it's a bit smaller than it was beforehand. He's just like, ah! And then when it's all said and done, he actually is like, ugh, rolls over, punches the ground, and then stands back up. He looks at you. He's not happy at all. There's that wall of stone behind you. Reaching down at the ground again, he makes a wall of stone in front of you, encapsulating you into a tiny little narrow area where there's stone behind you, stone in front of you, stone above you, stone beneath you, and water all around you. Yeah. It's now your turn. What do you do, buddy?
Try and get out of here somehow. I don't know how. I don't have any ability to teleport. And I can't see anything, so die. I mean, the only thing I can think of is swim to the edge and try and prop my blade inside of it.
Why don't you make an athletics check with disadvantage to see if you can swim out of the bubble? That's actually a 12, I believe, right? So do you, are you happy with that? You want to luck that? All right, there you go. It's either a 15 or a 16. I'm just not remembering one of the other abilities, so that's fine. You're actually able to pull yourself out of the bubble. Pull yourself out of the bubble, which is awesome. Good for you. You're unfortunately still trapped in stone all around you with a ball of bubble behind you. Actually, as you burst yourself free from the bubble collapses in on itself, just making a wet area down at your feet. So it's just like, not even ankle high water at your feet. But that's cool because you're naked anyway. So, because you remember you went snake again, then turns right back again.
Yep.
While you're standing there trying to discover what it is to do, something strange happens. Kind of catches you off guard. From one of the walls that are around you, it's kind of hard to keep track of which wall is which at this point. something stabs through the wall. You actually see a spike of almost like an iron spear stabs through one of the wall and embeds itself. So like, whoa, shit! It's literally just like a metal spike comes through the wall. You don't know what trickery they're going to do to you next. Just trying to contemplate how to prepare yourself, get yourself ready, maybe put up that icy water. Oh, you're out of magic. Spell or whatever it is you should do next. You see the spear starts to move ever so slightly. How the hell are they able to stab through a goddamn stone wall with a spear? Like, what kind of strength do these people have? And as it wiggles ever so slightly and pulls backwards, the wall crumbles into a whole bunch of just broken rocks all around you. And before you, you actually see a shape. A massive salamander before you. Iron armor on it, an iron spear, glaive, whatever it is, in its hand. As it stands before you, giving you like eeping huge amounts of heat off of it, so much so it's genuinely exhausting. It looks down at you. It doesn't need to speak because you feel its thoughts in your mind as you feel awe overtaking your body. You are not meant to be here. And then it gestures down the hallway, back towards that big open door that you came through originally.
They took something of mine, my blood.
Return from when you came.
Can you boil the blood?
Who asks a god for a Oh, yeah, that's right. He hangs out with Neil. He's a self-righteous prick. That's right. Whoops. Jesus, will you please make the Patriots win?
He's just simply
My
saying...
soldiers are the ones that should kill the other soldiers.
If I'm not supposed to be here, they can't have evidence of me.
Yeah, no. Thank you for instructing the god. So you say, can you boil the blood? It doesn't respond. You actually see it literally starts to eep into magma back into the ground. As it eeps back into the ground, making almost like vines of magma as it's like soaking and being sucked into it, like water would go through like cracks inside sand or whatever.
I mean, he would have, in seeing it, if he recognized it from the statue, he probably would have nodded before he asked that with his head down, not looking at it in its eye. And then probably after it eeped down into the soil, I guess he would look around, and if he didn't see anything, would reluctantly walk to the statue.
Okay. No, I feel like I phrased that wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm just thinking for a second. Because you get so into your head in the moment. He says, you need to leave. You need to leave. Yeah, you're not meant to be here. You're not meant to be here now. Yeah, that's what he says. I don't know if that's exactly how I phrased it before. That's what he means to say. You're not meant to be here now. Yep.
Yeah, and that's why. So he would take that, and he would acknowledge what he said, and he would head back.
No, yeah. I'm just making sure that I said it correctly. I just want to make sure it gets interpreted the right way. Yep, that's all. That's all. I'm still eating with my fingers because I didn't have time to go get a fork. Oh, because I realized I didn't have a fork. And wiping my hands on my pants like a monster. Well, shorts. They were clean. Good thing they're dark gray. So anyways, you go back to the statue. When you place your hand, I imagine you place your hand on the statue, do something like that?
Yeah.
You go walk back up to the statue. You can place your hand on the statue. You can feel like something right was done. You're not sure what it is. It's strange. But something right transpired. You place your hand on the statue, and it's almost like one of those Matrix moments where all of a sudden, as you place your hand on the statue, you hear a noise, and you look through the other doorway, the one that wasn't blocked by stone, and then you can like see like a ball, like an energy coming towards you, like, and then you sucked into the statue. And here's the crazy part: when you come back out of the statue, you come back into the same exact room, looking back at the same exact doors. But this time, there are no candles burning a brimstone strange smell. The heat's still there. And there's still the door to your right, the one that you originally went through, the one that had like the stone all messed up from like where it was you just battled. But the door to your left doesn't look as it did moments ago, where it's, you know, was well formed and so on and so forth. It actually looked like somebody hacked through it with a goddamn axe. It's all twisted and bent and broken and looks strange and like somebody had ripped it apart for whatever reason. But there's nobody there. It's dark down here. Warm, of course, but you don't hear any voices. You don't hear anything. Why don't we take a break so I can get a goddamn fork? We'll be back. Damn it, my buttons don't work.
What was happening?
You fucked up.
You fucked up.